Welcome to Chartered Central, Episode 1, Season 1. I'm excited for what we have in store. Who are we? What do we do? And what are we about? By way of introduction, my name is Peter Tibalelo Sirite, and I will be, over the next couple of weeks, taking through some of the things we do in our firm, some of the solutions we offer, and helping solve some of the problems we're identifying among the SMMEs and large corporates over our work. Who we are. We are SNA Chartered Accountants. We are a firm that's a boutique chartered accountancy firm based in Bryanston 22 on Sloan, and we offer services throughout South Africa in the following fields: accounting, auditing, BEE, SMME development, and our incubator and acceleration program through Butlali, which I will touch on in a bit. What makes us particularly unique and makes this channel on its own unique, it's that we are innovative in our thinking. We have credibility as we have been out there and have done the work, and the level of technology we use, it's just out of this world, as you'll find out for yourself. So over the next couple of weeks, we will be rolling out a number of videos similar to this on our various social platforms to simply answer the question: how can we help our SMMEs and how can we help the ecosystem of business in South Africa? On these platforms, it's we're gonna be engaging you guys. We hope you engage back on our social platforms. So we're available on Twitter, we're available on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and on our website www.siriteca.co.za. For those that would love to pop in for a coffee, and make sure you do have your mask, we are situated at 22 on Sloan in Bryanston. Now, make sure for the YouTube channel, you like, you share, you tell a friend, you subscribe, and you make sure that you get notifications so that you always first in line to get this good hot material that we'll be tackling. So in today's first episode, we're going to deal with what I call the 5 cardinal rules of SMMEs and just kickstarting the year properly. So we're going to look at a bit of compliance. Are you complying? What should I be complying with as a business? What are the things I need to be considering? Tax. Can I plan my taxes effectively? What should I be looking at? What are some of the things that I can take advantage of in this 2021 year? Cash flow. Now that is a monster for every business out there. How do I manage it? Being fund ready, whether it be grant funding or being commercial funding. How do I make sure I'm ready as a business for those funding? And the last 2 topics, which are my favorite, would be then around digitization and how do we ensure that we collaborate and being part of an ecosystem. So now these videos, they are done for you guys as business. So we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear comments from you. What are some of the business challenges? Send through your questions through our different platforms. The team will make sure either we address them in these videos or they respond to you. Now, this is the catch. Like any material, there will be material that will be freely available, like this videos today, so you guys can see the level of insight we go into the training. However, going forward, there'll be certain material that will be only available to our master classes, which are those people that are registered on our Butlali platform. So if I was you today, I would make sure I jump onto the following website: www.siriteca.co.za, and right on that website, on the top banner, you will see a banner called Butlali Incubators. Make sure you register, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter so you get the latest information and some of the hot unavailable exclusive masterclass training. And over the weeks, we'll be bringing in various speakers, we'll be bringing various experts to just help us tackle some of these things, and hopefully we'll build an ecosystem that we survive as business through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I can't keep up what wave of this pandemic. Welcome everyone. As I just said in the first part, we're going to tackle some issues that we see come up quite a lot with the SMMEs we work with through our communication, through surveys, and just general research. I mean, just to spit out some shocking stats that you guys are already aware of. There's a report I was reading the other day that spoke about how in the first part of the lockdown, so between the period March 27th, 2020 to about July, August of the same year, we looked at SMMEs on a 50% or 49% dying. So that's a very shocking stat considering we're in the first batch of lockdown. Now with everything coming, it makes one wonder that how does one navigate? And again, what I'm going to share with you guys is purely our opinion based on our research and our guest skills and expertise. One might have a different view of it. That's why everyone to each their own. Okay, so to touch on those topics we're going to look at, first and foremost, we're going to look at compliance, and then we're going to jump over to tax planning, a bit of tips around tax, that's somewhere here. Then we're going to come to cash flow and working capital, and then funding ready, and lastly some digitization. I've already jotted down some notes so that we engage more. Now there'll be a detailed unraveling of this in our master classes. So in our master classes for Butlali, we will definitely be looking at each and every one of these topics in great detail. So again, you want to make sure you jump onto the website. It's here, or you just search for Butlali Business Incubator. You should be able to pick it up on the net. Make sure you register fast, because the spots are filling up quite fast. We can't help everyone, unfortunately, and the actual flagship program is almost 80% full. So apply now, apply fast. So to start with compliance, so again, you're a business. I'll take an example. You just registered an events company, or you're selling donuts, okay? And first and foremost, it will make sense for one to understand what context of law are you applying in. Keep in mind, there's you, the person, and there's the business, what they would refer to as the juristic person, so the legal entity, okay? So now that's the first thing one needs to consider. What type of legal entity do I need? Is it a PTY? Is it, what do I now still get, revive an OCC I used to have? Is it an Inc? Is it a partnership? By the way, CCs are no longer active, or they're no longer being registered. Is it a sole proprietary? Is it a co-op? Again, there are pros and cons for each. But then that is determined by the type of business you want to run. Now back to our example. I want to sell scones, or I want to sell donuts. Then for me, it's profit driven. I want to be able to have autonomy. I mean, I'm a startup. I really don't want to have a lot of people. So it'll be easy again for me to go at PTY. Now PTY, you would then go to CIPC. I mean, the process is fairly simple. They've now even expanded it through the Biz portal. That is good software to actually get through. They've made it easier, right? Even the banks now, I think they can do some registration. I stand to be corrected around that, okay? So that's the first thing. You need to understand what context of law am I applying in. Am I in South Africa? So the Companies Act would then apply. Am I operating from Lesotho? Am I operating from Dubai? Where am I? Even in the digital space that we're in, it's very, very important that you have some sort of legal structure. I mean, from the top of my head, one of the benefits of it is that you have legally separated the business from you, even from a liability point of view. So the business can go fully broke and bust without even affecting you. Again, there are exceptions to the law for non-negligence and a lot of other things that they can actually get into your personal stuff. So that's the one thing you want to get right. Now, once you've ticked the compliance, there's also an annual part that you need to do, which now I see a lot of SMMEs, they get caught on the blind side. We forget about it. I don't know. That's now your annual returns. That's now, if you understand the law you're in the Companies Act. The Companies Act then will tell you that at the anniversary of the business registration, that means a year from registration, I need to submit my annual returns. That means I need to log in annual returns. Whether I do that myself as an entrepreneur or I get a consultant that will charge me a service, we are not here to really get into that now, but it needs to be done. Now with that, what will go? An annual commission fee that you need to pay to CIPC. Now if you're late, there'll be a penalty. Now that's just to make sure that the company is still remaining as a legally active business. Now again, if you find yourself under pending deregistration or deregistration due to annual returns, get in contact with an accountant, hint, hint, or do it yourself. Now again, in our master classes, we do teach people how to actually step by step, how do you do that process yourself. I mean, you're a startup, you really want to cut down on a lot of cost, hey, sort yourself out. Then you get to the second part, which is now policies. Now, this is another thing we forget. This is now like what? My sales contract, my HR policy, my paying. What happens when someone does a funny thing at work? How do I fire people? How do I hire people? A lot of those policies that one might assume, because there are multiple ways to become an entrepreneur. I mean, there's one way straight out from day one, you could get into it, then you're not even aware that there are policies you need to have. And there's two where you might have worked in a formal establishment, i.e. corporate, and then from there you resigned, but you already know the process. When you're not at work, you need to inform someone. When you're feeling ill, you need to complete a sick note. or a sick form, and whatever the case may be. But then those will be around the policies. You need to have a hold of that. Now again, this is something your accountant can do. Of course they will charge you for it, but this is something your accountant can do. Or again, if you want to do it yourself, you can literally go Google these stuff and get policies. And one of what we've seen here is that now links me to the third one, which is now legal. It becomes very important that from day one you have your house in order. And we have a partner we work with, Lenoma, where it's a tech firm again, we're all digital, that they specialize in that field. Pop onto our website and our blogs, it's sitting there, get in contact with them. Go see some of the stuff that they already have around the legal documents. Your shareholder agreement, you've got a partner you're in with. Yes, day one, everything's all hunky-dory, but the business is gonna move along. Now, this talks to a lot of guys that are in the tender space. I can tell you, my construction clients, yeah, we see this a lot, okay? Make sure you have, what happens when now your partner passes away? Does that mean half of the business now goes to his family? So make sure you have all of that, because no one plans for these things to happen, okay? And then here, again, these forms, they are readily available. Get it once, spend a day, so that stuff, get it done. Again, if you're lazy, get experts to do that. Get the guys like from Lenoma, okay? Get in touch with us, we'll get you in touch with those people. Again, there's risk. In any business, particularly COVID, would have taught us that you need to mitigate and manage risk. For example, I have a warehouse full of my donuts, flour, sugar, all of these things. 27 March, we're under lockdown. What happens to that? I'm losing stock. Do I have insurance for it? Another example, my stock is in progress. I'm delivering to a client. The delivery fleet vehicle gets hijacked. Who pays for the goods? Okay, let's take in the services line. I've got a consultant that happens to give client horrible advice and they're actually negligent. What happens to that? So all of these things, no one wants to imagine a point where your business is in that situation, but they happen. What happens at this point in time? I was reading an article the other day. They were talking about a company that started out, and this company had quite nice features, I guess, from a technology point of view. However, the age restrictions was a problem. So in the particular country they were operating in, there were a lot of underage children now on that platform that opened a whole lot of issues with sexual scandals and stuff. So a lot of lobby groups and the government had to now pin on it. Because do you realize that now the amount of lawsuits that startup was now faced with in its first year? You can imagine. So manage your risk. Whatever line of business you're in, it's okay for an entrepreneur to now think, we're going to be okay, because it's your dream. But the reality of it is that things might not always go your way. Manage it. Have your policies around your life. What happens when you pass away? What happens to that big debt that now sitting in the business? Who needs to pay? What happens to your estate? What happens to your businesses in relation to your family? Get a financial planner. Now again, then there's guys we work with, we can gladly refer you to them, okay? People that can help you set all of that from day one. Let's get that right. So this is now stuck around the laws of the game. You need to understand, where am I operating? How am I operating? How is it going? Then we move over then to the tax. Now, this is something, again, entrepreneurs, we conveniently forget, if you ask me, because if you think about it, the whole year you're enjoying your revenue, you're billing your clients, but come year end, all of a sudden, you forget to submit your tax. Don't buy that, okay? So, again, you're in a legal game. In South Africa, companies in South Africa have to do it. It's a must. If you have employees, you have to deduct the PAYE and pay it over to SARS. I really wish there was another way, but that is the law, okay? So there's a certain compliance you need to do. And again here, you can DIY it, learn it yourself. SARS has absolutely amazing videos on YouTube. You can go check there's a number of content. And again, on our masterclass, we cover this in detail in terms of kind of the nookies and crannies of getting around it. And then from there, so what does this compliance mean? It means that I need to declare to SARS how much I'm making honestly. And here's the trick, where now I always say I see inconsistencies in practice. It's where someone now from a CIPC point of view tells SARS I have made X. Okay? You tell the CIPC commission that I've made X. And all of a sudden come the tax, because this is always left last. Now you have a tender you need to submit, you need a tax pin, you need a tax clearance. All of a sudden here, you made nothing because you don't want to pay tax. it's illegal, it's wrong, it's non-compliant. Like I cannot, these two systems need to talk to each other. You are being compliant as a company, okay? So that's now in the tax space. Now, some of these compliance will be your provisional tax. You have to do it halfway and at the end of the year, okay? If you have employees, you need to withhold the tax and pay it over to SARS. Again, here there's a lot of calculations. I actually love, there's a module we do in tax where we actually look at, if I'm a business owner, is it better for me to take a salary every month? Or is it better for me to actually declare dividend every quarter, every half year, or once a year? Or what is it? Do I give myself a bonus? How do I structure to make sure I get the maximum of it? We cover it in one of the modules in the tax stuff in our master classes though, okay? Hot stuff there, I tell you. Okay, then we get to VAT. And that's something I'm also picking up. Someone day one register for VAT, but there are requirements for VAT. Just to kickstart them, you need to be making $1 million a year. Then you have to register. That's about 80,000 a month. Okay, so if you're not making that, then you don't have to. However, there's also what they call a voluntary registration, where you now can decide, again, there are requirements you need to tick. Once you meet those requirements, then you can decide, okay, let me go register voluntarily. Then again, get in touch with the tax practitioner, which we are, and let them solve that process. But this is now the part that becomes funny. After registering, there is a process of compliance you need to go to. Because once you register SARS, then we'll come back to you, tell you, okay, we've approved or we've declined, you're in category A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Again, tax practitioner will tell you. And another thing that's quite big, make sure whenever you're dealing with someone with tax stuff, the person sends you evidence that they are a registered tax practitioner. I cannot tell you guys how many times we come across clients that come to us after they've given their tax stuff to someone who knew how to play around on the system, but they're not a tax practitioner. Just ask them, dude, if you're a tax practitioner, send me your letter. It shouldn't be that hard. If they can't send it already, that should be the red flag, okay? That should make sure that you're working with a legit tax practitioner. And then from there, around income tax and provisional. Now, in income tax, right, I always say that once you have done all your calculation, there's a difference between the accounting side and the tax side of things. So from that perspective, one needs to understand that there are certain allowances or deductions that SARS would allow that generally in accounting wouldn't be there, and the vice versa would apply. But again, this here we could discuss for days and days on it. But for now, I want us to then take a breather so we can wrap up then the last two. All right, check you in a bit. Welcome back again. So we're gonna rush through now the second part of some of the hot topics we're picking up, right? Working capital, aka cash flow. Okay, I mean, if you're in business, you're in it for the money. That's the reality of it. And there's one cardinal rule that when I started learning business from a very, very young age, cash is key. The idea is to have money in your account. So one of the things that as an entrepreneur, you want to start planning and having solid processes for, it's your sale. So now this goes something like, from the moment a customer comes in, whatever it is that I'm selling, how long does it take for the customer to pay me after sold? Meaning how many days? You need to know it. How long does it take me to collect from my customers? It can't be like, oh, sometimes it's a month, sometimes, but you need to have a solid, because once you know how long it is, then you can start managing it to say, okay, if it takes me about 20 days to collect my money from my customers, it will make sense that I then pay my suppliers day 21, day 22, day 23, because I've collected the money. Now, I can't go sign a credit agreement, or I can't go sign a supply agreement that says I need to pay within 10 days. If now my invoices are settled after 30 days. So you need to match that. So the days, you need to know, how long does it take for me to get my money? Be realistic. Everyone has an ideal, but what is your realistic? Look at the 5 past clients you've sold to. How long did it take them? Okay. Now, this module, we again in our master classes, guys, everything that we do have here, we do cover in our master classes. But this module, we generally start looking at in detail from guys that have been in operation. Normally, you're in an ideation, you're starting out. There's what we call lean models that guys will work you around. There's a whole lot of analysis they'll do and teach you how to kind of really get this unlocked. It's easier when you're smaller, but when you're really operating, it can become quite messy and be all over the show, because You have supplies. For example, rent would need to be paid on the 7th. Your customer is paying you after the 28th. Do you realize that you need to start thinking of ways of how do I get my customer to pay quicker? Do I incentivize them? Do I give them early settlement discounts? For paying late, how do I discourage them? Do I start giving them penalties? Do I use collection methods? So that, again, it talks to the business you have and what you do. Now, I can tell you right now that we have serviced a wide range of clients, and we have seen this cycle quite imperative from even in the health space. Okay, where now you come see a doctor, boom, boom, boom. After you've seen a doctor, the doctor's administration have to claim from the medical aid. The medical aid have to get approval to check if they have the funds. That whole cycle, by the time it needs to come back, payables have to be paid, salaries have to be paid, expenses, stock has to be replenished. So it needs to be a moving cycle. It needs to be a moving cycle. It reminds me to I don't know how you guys grew up. When I was still young, my mom used to say, whenever you ask for anything, month end, tell me at month end, wait for month end, because that's how she managed her cash cycle. She understood that I cannot have any outlay of cash up until month end, where then I would have received my salary or whatever form of income that would come in. It's managing that. And then once you understand it, and you're quite real, one of the areas that one needs to look at is stock. We are seeing a lot of people get it wrong. Either you're overstocking, which results in rentals, storage fees, security, logistics, like risk of expiry. I mean, if you're in the fast food and retail and lockdown happened, we saw a spark of actually write-offs in this, okay? So where now you're in a business where you need to plan, you have peak seasons, you have Easter period coming up, certain parts of the north of South Africa will be high, so if I'm selling a certain product, then it would be at its peak and that event doesn't happen. Manage this, get this stuff on lock. Again, here, all of these stuff, there are softwares, there are people you can talk to, there are videos you can watch on YouTube. But it's something that you need to get a hold of. And lastly, in terms of working capital, one of the tricks that I'll then share. Now, I shouldn't be sharing any of these tricks in here because this is, it's a launch video. It's specials, but there's also a risk with that. The risk with that is that then this becomes your norm. That is the big risk. That in the one thing that COVID has taught or forced a lot of companies to do is learn to be agile, to adapt. All of a sudden, I cannot operate in my traditional brick and mortar offices. Now I need to be working digitally. How does that happen? I need to adapt. But with that came a whole lot of opportunities. You're taking advantage of short-term opportunities that are specials. For example, you're selling sanitizers even though you're not in that industry. However, be warned that that does not become your norm, because the one thing that you need to always be protective of is the brand of your baby, the brand of your business. So you don't want now at the end of it all, you come out from not doing what you love to now having to end up focusing on your specials. But it's one way of also managing your working capital and cash flow if you do it properly. Okay, then again here, there's separate video as well that we're gonna do probably in the next week or so once I'm on the road show, because this is one of the questions that we've been asking entrepreneurs that we've worked with, that how do I better manage, whether you're in construction, how do you better manage my cash flow? I mean, I need to go on site, I need to have petty cash, I need to have site manager spending, I'm a doctor, I need to replenish my stock in the dispensary, I need to pay my staff, I'm an entrepreneur selling retail, I need to stock up, pay rent. So there's a lot that we look at, and we really delve into it in a separate one. But this one, again, it's not going to be available to everyone. This will actually, in the next week or so, it will be on our Facebook private group, okay, for Butlali, and it's one I recommend to all entrepreneurs actually trying to get your cash flow right, okay? Then we start looking at another thing that, again, entrepreneurs, we always act surprised. Someone the whole year would call you and say, Peter, I'm trying to get funding. Alrighty, send me your documents. No, they're not ready. Okay, so how do you expect to get the funding? You need to be ready for the opportunity. If now you understand that we're in lockdown, this is an opportunity to get your house in order. Get your projections in, get your numbers right, get your compliance right. So when then the opportunity comes up, you just simply respond. That takes away so much pressure, because then you're giving your best foot forward. What that means, if now I need to know that I need to apply for funding, my general rule of thumb, this is again my rule of thumb, is that these three things you need to know without a doubt. The first one is your compliance. Whoever's going to borrow your money would want to know that you're a legitimate company, you've got your house in order, you're paying your taxes, you've got your CIPC documents, you've got your BE. That's another one that we're actually going to do a talk with some of the guys that are quite big in the industry. I'm actually excited about that. We're trying to get guests because they're going to look at how do you actually get ready and best position yourself for ESG programs so that you use your BE status as an SMME to actually give you opportunities through SD models, through ED models. I mean, I'll use a lot of acronyms, but if you don't understand, it's a good time to actually start asking. But your SD would be your supply development, your enterprise development. I mean, these are buzzwords we hear everyone. We hear incubation. We also had an incubation, but what really does it do? How do corporates come to play? So that's again another discussion. We're probably going to have a webinar on it. And then get your compliance right. Now, there's a lot of free platforms out there. I don't want to advertise, right? That can help you get this, but have it ready. Your numbers, know your numbers. Now the numbers, I'm talking your historical numbers. That will be your financial statements, your management accounts, your current numbers, your future numbers, your projections. And it's funny, I always say that someone will send you their management accounts that says they're making 2,000 and they'll send you projection that says they're making 10 million the next month. And I'm like, but from that 2,000 that you're actually making, what happened in 30 days? Did you get a tender? What happened? The reality of it is that all of these numbers, it's not just numbers you're just throwing at the investor. It's a financial story of your business. It tells a story. That's what I'm saying, the historical. You look at your financial statement. What happened in the past? What happened last year? What happened this year? Okay, how's his balance sheet? Does he have assets? Does he have receivables? Does he have customers? Because my receivables show me that you're in business. People are owing you. So next year you're going to come back. How big are his liabilities? Who does he owe? The income statement, how's he performing? And all of that, that's a conversation you can have with your accountant. If he's not giving that, maybe it's a good time to actually change, And then you need to know your numbers, because any investor, for the life of me, if you have to give someone money, you want to know what's going to happen to your money. What do you spend that money on? When will this money come back? Even the future projections, they need to be rooted in reality. Everyone's idea is profitable in their mind. Everyone's idea is profitable in their mind. Even on paper, I'm yet to come across a business plan that says the business will make a loss. But the reality of it is that 49 of SMMEs closed down last year. The fail rate is still horrendous for SMMEs. It's because the numbers are not rooted in reality. And then from there, guys, if you're looking for funding, I always say that if you're an SMME, now again, I'm saying it with my chest, okay, it's my opinion. If you're an SME and you need funding to start, let me correct that. If you're an entrepreneur and you need funding to start, you're not an entrepreneur. Point blank. Okay, you're looking for grants, you're an NGO, you're looking for funding. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna start at some point in time. Yes, you will need funding. That funding needs to be directly correlated with your plan to scale. What do you need the funding for? I can't need funding to buy my first stock. Then I'm not an entrepreneur, because then that tells me I don't even know if I have a market. But now if I say, guys, I need funding, and someone asks the question and I'm like, there's a demand of the product I'm selling in this particular area. I mean, I'm always out of stock. I'm just limited by the funds I have. That's a different conversation from someone that says, give me 2 million. I want to go buy the land, get a verpa, and then buy the material to set up. You're in something else. And maybe, you're not the type of people that would love to work with anyway. Okay, but then you need to have a plan to scale. How are you growing? What do you want to grow in? Are you looking for access to markets? Are you looking for scalability? What type of product it is? And a lot of entrepreneurs here, they get it wrong by mistaking being popular with having a good product. You can still have a good product without having everyone on the product. Certain products, they're okay if they have the numbers that they have. If your product is a niche product by its very nature, not everyone is going to have it. And it will make sense that your page will not have 50,000 followers or 100,000. You're a niche product. So now what we see here, a lot of entrepreneurs come to us and they really say, I need to focus on getting the word out there. But getting the word out to who? Are these people going to buy your product? No. So what's the point? You just want to have followers, feel good. Start a podcast, do something, dance, or I don't know, be an influencer, have a, I don't know, but definitely your business needs, your scaling plan needs to talk to the type of business you have. Okay. And one of my favorite one is digitization. I mean, if last year wasn't evident enough that you needed to migrate, I don't know what you need. Okay. Customers, I mean, in the past 6 months, stats will tell you that the consumption of digital platforms, YouTube, it's in its billions. Facebook, it has skyrocketed. Instagram, TikTok, there's been a high rise in a lot of tech and actually digital platforms. Then why are you still doing work manually? That means you need to e-commerce. No longer can you sell to the people down your street, in your neighborhood, in your location. You need to now start thinking broad. I mean, we have the African Union, the Africa Free Trade that is live now. That means I can do business with someone sitting in Egypt and make sure the stock is delivered in Kenya, and that person has other businesses that I'm consulting with in Nigeria and Senegal. That is the beauty of the Africa Free Trade and e-commerce. No longer are they borders to the type of business we do, and again, it's not easy, because one again needs to consider, if I want to participate in e-commerce, I still need to be cognitive of the different compliances that apply. If now I'm doing business in Saudi, there's a certain way I need to do it. If I'm doing business in Lesotho, there's a certain way I need to do it. So again, you still need to keep in touch with the reality of where you're doing business. And secondly, is the mobility and connectivity. This is something that we've seen over the past 10 months actually grow quite significantly, both from a research perspective and just customer increase, where now connectivity, our clients wants to be very close to us. Our staff needs to be very close to us. We need to be able to work and access our platforms from anywhere in the world. No longer is it anywhere in South Africa, but in the world. Mobility, communication has become so critical. All of this are quite imperative to your idea of scaling or growing your business. Digitization and digital transformation, it's something that is here to stay. Yes, it's going to have its difficulties. We're going to have its challenges. It's quite new, but it's something that we need to embrace and actually start making that transformation, because it has so many benefits for your business. You can have customers all over South Africa, all over Africa, all over the world, if you think about it. So these are some of the ideas or some of the pointers I just wanted to share with you guys in terms of what we've been getting, our observations of the market, of things that you need to be working on in your business. Now, I'm glad to give you guys a consultation. I mean, if you get in touch with our platforms, the day it actually goes live, it's only available on that day. That'll be then today, Friday, just this day alone. Okay, there's going to be a special link that we're going to post. So today alone, I'll then give a consultation with the guys at the office. I hope we have capacity. And we're happy to have a chat with you. But again, because of time and how things have been business-wise, we are not going to be able to help everyone. And for those that we can't help, our platforms are there. There's Baklali that you need to actually get in contact with. Let's get in touch with that. Make sure you're part of a cohort. We're running about 4 flagship programs. There are 2 programs that are absolutely free, right? We're trying to also get some sponsorship. That's why we're on Roadshow, that we can get some of these help as many entrepreneurs as we can use in digital platforms. Now, again, one of the requirements for working with us, you need to be digitally inclined and you need to be serious about growing your business and solving your problems. If you do get these things, if at any point in time, you see how integrated they are, one of them is a nod, it means it has a ripple effect on another one and you want to make sure of it. So I'll see you guys shortly where we're going to start concluding, and I'm going to tell you about Baklali, the business incubator and the accelerator. I'm really excited to tell you guys about it. See you guys shortly.